The Money Show.
Personal Finance with Warren Ingram.
I've not ever seen this, and it's kind of awkward, but okay. I mean, it's quite a manly apron, I suppose. Is that what you used to braai with, Warren? There are some sort of fatty marks on the front of it. You've got that feather duster. I mean, you are coming to the party in a very big way. I'll explain why Warren is dressed so strangely this evening by posing 5 questions to you. Do you stick to your car's service plan? Do you get exercise? Do you, as best you can, with understandable temptations, watch your diet? You want to live a healthier life? Do you go for basic, regular medical checkups and occasionally go for a big one? Do you regularly review your personal finances? I can imagine you sitting there going, yep. No. Because it's boring. And it's demanding. And it's higher grade. And it's scary. And so often it's revealing to us a truth that we don't want to acknowledge. So you then go, yeah, maybe markets will be better next year. And then I'll look at it when I feel a bit happier about what I've done. I suspect, Warren Ingram, apron-wearing, duster-bearing, certified financial planner and director at Galileo Capital, that many people will get 4 out of 5, but they probably stumble on the personal finance spring clean. Why is it that we are so allergic to the dust that throws up?
I think we like to do things that give us, let's say, instant gratification. You know, going for a run at least makes you feel good.
Good point. Why, though, do we hate the personal finance stuff so much? What makes it so difficult to just sit down and once a year, just find the document, sit down and say, where are we?
I think we don't like the scary part, Bruce. I think it's, we're worried that we might get some bad news and we might not have a rosy, happy picture. And so we tend to avoid it and do things that are fun and kind of make us feel better in the moment rather than looking at what happens in the next 5, 10, 15 years. And, that's what personal finance is about. It's about, long-term thinking. And, we're not wired for that as human beings. We want, kind of the sugar rush from that sweet or, the flavor of the beer or whatever it is. We want it all and we want it now.
We do. And personal finances are probably, as important as all those other things are, the most intimate introspection of our preparedness for the future. And because most of us are frightened of the future, because it is unknowable, we then find excuses not to plan. We go, well, what happens if markets fall? We'll invest next year. I just need that new car and the new outfit and the holiday. And once I've done that and I've paid off the debt and I've got my emergency fund, which Warren told me to have sorted, then I'm going to start saving. But I'm exhausted 6 months from now because that holiday was tiring, so I better have another one. And you just kick that can down the road, Warren. So take me through, please, the least daunting approach that we can take to assessing our financial plan, whether it's looking at our bank statements, just going through making sure there are no dodgy debit orders or no things that actually we thought we discontinued and we hadn't, and actually we're still paying a couple of $100 for a gym membership that discontinued and we forgot. That we are looking at insurance policies and say, when else did we actually ask for a quote? When else did we shop around? Because invariably, if you stay with an insurer for too long, they push up your price and they offer new entrants lower prices to hook them in. When else did we check our life insurance and see whether it was big enough to cope with inflation and the fact that there have been 1 or 2 kids in between? When else do we actually say, how much of our salary and our income are we putting away and how much growth are we getting on that? Because those are hard realities to face.
They are, but I think we can do it in a relatively simple way. I mean, starting, your first question is a brilliant one. Look at your bank statement. Just if you do nothing else, there's a nice long weekend. We've got an extra day coming up. go through your bank statement. Have a look at what are the debit orders that are coming off your account. What are the subscriptions now? That's kind of a new thing for us all. Is we subscribe to streaming services or whatever it is. And on our accounts, have a look at those and which ones are you actually using and which ones did you subscribe to because they seemed like a great idea, 6 months or a year ago. And actually, can the ones that are really not adding value to life and that aren't that interesting to you, and if you're what do they call it now, X, but used to be Twitter subscriber because you thought Elon, was going to do something amazing and you've realized that subscription is useless, can it? So go through your bank account and check those statements and look at the useless expenses that are doing nothing for you. Yet we are in an environment where the cost of living has gone up substantially in the last few years. And so just cutting out what's not adding value to life, I think is a good start. When I say not adding value to life, please don't cancel your medical aid. That's may not be adding value to life immediately right now, but jeepers, you'll need it if things are going wrong. So we're talking about the kind of consumption things. It's the things that don't add to your savings or ensure your life or your health and those kinds of things. So kick off with that, and it doesn't take long. A bank statement's usually not that long, and just do it step by step. If you've got a partner, go through it together and just talk it through and figure out what it is that's really valuable to you, and you'll find inevitably, like when you do spring cleaning your house, when you go through your bank statement, there are things that you can just without any real pain. We just don't always apply our minds to that. So kick off with that, Bruce. I think that's not so painful and requires no sacrifice.
But you talk about short-term, the sort of dopamine effect that comes from a run, or a dopamine effect that comes from doing something positive for your health and even going to the dentist. You go, thank goodness I've done that. Now it's good, done. When you do that process and suddenly you realize there's 2, 3, 4, 500, 1,000 rand of really stupid things going through your bank statement. In one morning, you've saved yourself $1,000 a month, 12 grand a year, or whatever the amount is. Suddenly you go, hold on a second, that was quite rewarding. Now let's tackle the insurance policies and let's see whether or not I can get a better quote. Proper quote and proper service and stuff. But actually it becomes quite an enjoyable, especially for cheapskates, like myself. You find ways to reward yourself for taking the time. And you think, but my time is valuable. I could be earning some money. I could be doing a side hustle. You actually, the easiest money you can earn for yourself is not spending the stuff that you're wasting money on, surely.
Exactly right, and I think maybe because the next one, the insurance comment is maybe a little bit more work, and so give yourself a reward if you find a way of saving some money. So if you do go through your bank statements, you save some on the useless expenses, then you go through the necessary pain of kind of getting updated requotes on your life assurance, disability, or your car insurance, your household, all that stuff. And you find a way to not reduce your cover, but to kind of reduce what you're paying. Take a portion of that money and set it aside for kind of the really nice holiday that you were planning and weren't sure how you were going to pay for it without borrowing money. So give yourself something to look forward to. Give yourself a reward for a portion of the money that you save. And the balance, definitely add to your financial freedom fund, definitely add to kind of, the kids, next year's school funds, whatever it is. But always when you do something like this, give yourself something to work towards that's fun, that does give you the dopamine kick. It's not just, I'm doing this for my 20-year self from now, the person I will be one day. Do it now and, plan for that nice holiday. And, if December's not far away now, give yourself something nice to do in that time. So I think you can do that, with the insurance one, because I know it's painful, and I know people are rolling their eyes while they're listening to us about that. But you can make it exciting, and you can do something.
Here's the reality, and I this is my experience. I'm not saying that it is deliberate. I would never imply that you get ripped off by insurers, because that would be the wrong thing to do. But I have found in my experience that when I have stuck with a particular insurer for an extended period of time, I've noticed the value, say, of a car decline every year, and I've noticed the cost of the insurance premium go up every year. And when I have challenged this, they've said, well, parts are more expensive and repairs are more expensive. And so therefore, if this skudonk that you're now driving that was worth X 10 years ago is now worth Y, yes, that's only one part of it. Your insurance has tripled over that time. Yes, because it's more expensive to fix. They're going to write it off if it's too expensive to fix, the clever buggers. And you approach a new insurance company with that same vehicle, you are likely to get a much better quote because they want to snare you. They want to seize you and steal you from their customers so that they can spend the next 5 years ramping up your insurance premium. Is that too cynical of you? But I think it's true.
No, I think it's a fair point. And also what happens is, insurers kind of get a bit lazy. If they're doing well, and their underwriting is going well, then they'll try and nudge up their underwriting premiums as much as they can, whereas their competitors who might have been struggling for the last couple of years are desperate to get some new business, and they'll be much leaner in the way that they charge. So it always makes sense to me that you do that exercise every 2 to 3 years. What I would say is you should review that on your life and disability as well, because the same principle applies to them. There'll be a company that will say, we've got plenty of life assurance now. We don't really want that anymore, and they'll start to price their insurance in a way that kind of nudges some people to leave them, and others that will be saying we need some more life assurance. So definitely, even if it's not kind of cynical on their part, it might just be pricing for business that they want and pricing away business that they don't want. And, you often see that in the short-term insurance space when insurers realize that, they haven't really been pricing the drivers under 25 correctly, and suddenly their premiums shoot through the roof. So always do that exercise. I think at the very least, every 3 years, ideally every year, because as you said, Bruce, you can actually save yourself quite a few $100 if you do that, and that adds up to a lot of money over time.
It does. Now we get to the stuff that we are likely to be most disappointed by, because we're never going to invest enough. Most people in jobs, there's so much inflationary pressure. The value of money is being gouged out. We've got higher interest rates. We've got inflation. Everything costs more. And so often where we compromise, we say, we're going to invest more next year when things are better, when I've got a new job, a new side hustle. I may just trim my contributions to my retirement. I'll play catch up later. And then next year, I don't know, the dog dies or something horrible happens and you run short of money again, and then you kick the can down the road again, and suddenly it's 10 years have gone by and you've not done enough investing. The importance of facing up to that reality sooner rather than later. Warren, please explain.
So I think two things there. One is, as you say, making sure that you're actually saving enough, and what is enough to me, at the very least, for anybody anywhere, it's 15% of everything that you earn, and that's at an absolute minimum. So if you're earning 10,000 Rand a month, that means before taxes and before all of those things, you should be setting aside 1,500 Rand of that money to your savings. And that is the amount you should be saving if you're prepared to work in any kind of a job that's going to pay you a salary until at least the age of 65. If you want to retire earlier than that, you need to be saving more. And for those that are kind of aiming for financial freedom at 45 or 50, I think it's around about 33% of everything that you earn. So again, 10,000 Rand, you're saving 3,333 Rand and 33 cents, Bruce, to be precise.
Nice.
And you have to be saving that to get that goal. So the first part is where you're saving, and I understand all of the comments that people make around, cost of living has gone up, times are tough, all of those things. So it's not that we're prescribing to you what you should do. These are goals you set for yourself. If you want to work for a long period of time and you're comfortable doing that, by all means, save a little bit less. If you hate your job and you hate working for a boss and all of that, and you want to get to financial freedom much quicker, you have to find ways to save more. You have to find ways to knock down the debt and exert control. And you can't make excuses. You cannot find reasons not to do this. You have to find the reasons to save and to take control. And it's just simple maths. There is no magic with this. There is no magic pull investment that will suddenly double or treble with guaranteed returns and everything will be fine, 2 years before you retire. It doesn't work like that. So you have to do this now, and you have to take the pain. If there is pain to be taken, take it now. It will be a lot less painful, just on retirement, or even worse at age 75 when you run out of money.
Yes, thank you for that. The other nasty reality with which we need to confront. And we only need to confront this, again, once a year. And it's a quick refresh and a quick make sure that there aren't any sudden children, or that somebody named in your will is no longer flavor of the day and needs to be removed, or you've bought something or sold something that was in your will or should now be included in your will, and you've just got to confront your mortality and go, just grow up and do the damn will. And make sure that it is done, and make sure that it's witnessed, and make sure that it is uncontentious, and make sure that the stuff that you put in it is traceable, and that the passwords for your bank account are looked somewhere. I was just reminded by Nikki Bush, who is a remarkable speaker, and she went through that horrible tragedy where her husband was murdered, and she's actually created a list of your what if file, and it is the most beautiful list of 20 things you must do that you must put on a piece of paper or on a hard drive or somewhere that somebody can find, that if you have some dreadful accident and become incapacitated or die, people can sort out your life without too much hassle. Give them the gift of less admin when you go. I think it's a kind thing, isn't it?
It's absolutely a necessity. Dying without a will in South Africa is leaving behind an absolute mess to the people that love you, that maybe financially dependent on you.
You're telling your family you don't care about them. Essentially, you're selfish, you're self-obsessed, you couldn't face your own mortality, you didn't care enough to make their lives easier. That's what it is. It's brutal, but it's true.
It is, and the department in the government that deals with this is in a nightmare state and getting worse. So what you're doing is you're leaving behind, I think, about 2 to 4 years of hell. That's the sentence you're giving to the people that you leave behind if you die without a will. So I mean, not exaggerating the case. This is something you absolutely have to do. And as you said, people may not be ill, and they might be young and healthy and all of those things, but they could die in a tragedy very simply. I think the pandemic taught us that we have absolutely no control over how things are going to go. So this is not meant to be kind of the morbid speech, but it's just to say, kind of wake up, take control. It's not difficult to get a will. And then if you've got a will, make sure it's up to date. It could be anything from divorce to marriage to a baby, to a death of a loved one, that maybe you'd nominated your parents as beneficiaries of your will, but unfortunately they're dead, and you need to find someone new to kind of leave your assets to. You have to do this, and it's just it's real adulting and an absolute responsibility you have to take seriously.
That is how to do a spring clean. It really is doing yourself a favor, your future self a favor, and the people you claim to care about a service by sorting out only you understand that mess of papers. Sort it out. Grow up. We all need to do this. I'm guilty. Guilty as charged, Warren. Don't stop looking at me like that. Now listen, Warren, I am very sorry for our correspondent this evening, because this correspondent is going to be sleeping on the couch this evening. Ben is his name, because he starts with a provocative statement. My wife stopped working about 3 years ago to take care of our twins. Oh, Ben, how long have you been married?
Started working 3 years ago.
Exactly. Maybe stopped paid work 3 years ago to take care of our twins. Just suggesting it, Ben. We've preserved the retirement savings that she had through her previous employer. I contribute to a tax-free savings account for her. She has since started a small business and earns an income from it. We are now in a position to add to her retirement savings. Well done. Should we use a retirement annuity, a unit trust for these additional savings? I think you may have just saved your own life there, Ben. Maybe you'll be welcome back in the bed at midnight. But the work... Children are work, Ben. Honestly, they are. Let's hope don't get beaten up. What should they do?
I think it's maybe just to understand, with Ben and his hopefully still wife, the nature of the business. If that business, if the income from that business is reasonably stable and fairly predictable, and maybe that they're not worried about needing to access money in the near future, then bulking up the retirement annuity contributions makes a lot of sense to me, because you get a really nice tax break on that. The growth inside is tax free. And certainly, as we've just been talking about, saving for their future selves makes a lot of sense to me. So I would look at the retirement annuity first. Having said that, if the income from that small business is unpredictable or lumpy, or potentially the business is may not survive if they have any kind of concern like that, then I think adding money to a unit trust makes sense, because it does add to their long-term savings, and it does work in terms of saving for their future selves. But at the same time, if something goes wrong with the business and they need income or they need access to capital, they can always access money from a unit trust much more quickly. At the moment, probably take 2 or 3 working days, and they'll get the money in the unit trust back in their account again. So I think if it's about accessible money, then the unit trust. If it's not accessible money, then and they're not too concerned about that, the retirement annuity. And always, for me, if I'm not 100% sure which way to go, I do a little bit of both. Go half and half. And there's no harm in adding some to the retirement annuity and some to the unit trust. The important point there that other than Ben's major faux pas, is that he's already doing the tax-free savings account, which would have been my first recommendation. So I think for the balance, maybe go half, Ben, if you're still married. Otherwise, the way we spoke about the access to money is important.
And just say sorry. Just say it was thoughtless. Just say, of course it's work. It's just unpaid work, but we're doing better now as a team. Look at us. And then just, start running. Anyway, Ben, congratulations on the twins. Well done to Ben's wife, who goes unnamed in this. To have 3-year-old twins and to be starting a business is an achievement in itself. That is awesome. Warren Ingram, thank you very much. You can take the apron off. You can put the duster down. Thank you for the spring clean. We'll chat again soon.